You're working your ass off, you're motivated, and you're young trying to become a millionaire. So today, I'm gonna give you 7 principles I wish I had earlier to become a millionaire at a young age. Now, I became a millionaire when I was 24 years old, but I want you to know that no matter how many people you see on Instagram or TikTok flashing Lambos and cash, that it's not normal. But it was because I followed these 7 principles that I'm about to show you in this video that I was able to make tens of millions of dollars and be financially free in my early 20s. Now, one thing I do remember super vividly was how hard it was finding information online that was actually helpful. And that's why I decided to make this video today. Because my goal this year is to help 1,000 people become millionaires in 2025. And I figured there's no better place to share that information than on YouTube for completely free. Now, don't get me wrong. Unlike most people, I can admit that a large part of my success is luck and good timing, but there are a few things I did early on that prepared me for when opportunities came knocking. If there's one thing I wish I had early on as a teenager, it would be a mentor. And so this year, I'm gonna be posting 2 videos a week, dropping every bit of knowledge I have in an attempt to prepare you for when your opportunity comes knocking at your door. And maybe the IRS, because you'll be making so much money. So let's just jump right in. So the first rule, if you want to be a millionaire in your early teens and 20s, is take everything with a grain of salt. Now, if there's one thing that my grandpa was right about, it's that the younger generations have gotten soft. And while yes, he may be right, we've also gotten smarter. We have more access to information than we've ever had before, and more opportunity to make a name for ourselves than he ever did. Because it's also a double-edged sword. It's becoming increasingly harder to sort the good information from the bad, to figure out exactly what we all actually need to know in order to become successful. Not only is there a ton of misinformation out there from the fake gurus, news outlets, and social media, but it's also nearly impossible to know if the advice you've been getting from your best friend is good either. Which is why I have some advice for you. Take everything you learn and everything your friends say with a grain of salt, including what I'm saying right now. If the person you're taking advice from isn't where you want to be today, then you probably shouldn't be taking the same action steps as they are. While I've made tens of millions of dollars online and scaled multiple successful companies, there are still things that I don't know. Things that I'll have to figure out. And the longer it takes me to figure out, the more money I lose in the process. Because at the end of the day, time is the only asset you can't get back. Time is money. So you should value your time more than anything. And while these 7 steps I outline in this video will help you achieve your goals, I caution you, take everything everyone says with a grain of salt and figure out what is more valuable to you at this given point in your life. And if your success means that much to you, then keep learning, because the more you know, the faster you can make it happen. Which is why later in this video, I'll share with you how Red Bull was able to turn an energy drink company into a billion-dollar corporation, and how you can use those same tactics to do the exact same thing. And that brings me to tip number 2. To become a millionaire in your early teens and 20s is know your place. One of the biggest problems I see with this generation, and I'm part of it too, is expecting instant gratification. Just like a corporate or 9-to-5 job, you can't just expect to jump all the way to the top. You have to earn your stripes. Go from nothing to $1 million in 1 month is just not feasible. Now, I came from literally nothing and amassed millions of dollars fairly quickly compared to most people. But no matter what room I walk into, even if those people are making way less than me, I still listen. You see, I think a lot of people, once they get to a certain level of wealth, think that they know everything. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is to learn from everybody. It doesn't matter if it's fast food worker or Walmart employee. It's important to not only treat people with respect, but listen to the small pieces of advice they have to offer. Everyone comes from different walks of life and has different lessons they have learned. Now, this doesn't mean you should take financial advice from someone who has no clue how to make money, but it's important to at least listen. Remember rule number 1, we listen, but we take everything with a grain of salt. And that brings me to rule number 3. Don't let people discredit you due to your age. You see, when you first start out, you're the new guy on the block. You're young, you're ambitious, you're ready to conquer the world, and people will see that as a threat. You have more energy and you're willing to take things head on. So people will take any excuse to bring you down, starting with how you dress. Now, when you're 30 or 40 years old, you have on a t-shirt or maybe even some hyper gear like Gucci, it makes you look a little younger. And people don't seem to bat an eye. But when you're a teenager or in your early 20s and you wear the same thing, people think you're just some kid and stop taking you seriously. Don't give them that opportunity. Anytime you go to a fancy event Make sure you're dressed to impress. Dress older than you are. And I'm not saying you need to have some crazy suit, but throw on a black dress shirt, some nice pants, and a decent pair of shoes. I promise it will go a long way. Your first impression with someone is so much more important than you actually realize. When you walk into a room, not only do you want to be dressed well, but you want to be prepared for the situation too. If you're going to a new event, try to brush up on your knowledge and make sure you're well educated on the people who are there. Everyone loves when you know things about them. A simple Google search to spark new conversations can go a long way. Which brings me to rule number 4. Keep your circle small. Now, you know that song, keep your friends close but your enemies closer? Well, I completely disagree with that, because it's a proven fact that the 5 people you surround yourself with the most is what you become most like. So why the hell would you want to surround yourself with someone you hate? It literally makes no sense. You need to make sure you surround yourself with the most positive and supportive people you can find. People who genuinely care about you and want to see you grow. This is why when you pick your significant other, it's single-handedly the most important decision you will make. You are going to be spending the most of your time with them, and they can make or break your success. Now, you also need to understand there is a difference between an acquaintance and a friend. You can have a bunch of acquaintances. I actually encourage that. That's considered your network, but you should only have a few friends. Very few people who actually know what's going on in your life, because the people closest to you can also use that information against you. And so you should be cautious with who you let into your inner circle. The people you let in should be your brothers, your ride or die. The people who would do anything to see you win. And that, my friends, is hard to find. So like I said, keep your circle small, but your influence large. Now, you don't need to become a huge influencer or grow a massive following to become a millionaire at a young age. But I do think a lot of the principles that they use to grow a following can be great lessons for everybody. Which brings me to rule number 5. The majority of people who are huge online are there for a reason, and it's because they provide tremendous amount of value to their audience. I think there are a few lessons we can steal from this. The first being providing as much value as possible to everyone you meet. Now, sure, you could give your client exactly what they asked for, but what makes you stand out from your competitors? The biggest thing that separated me from everyone else when I first started was over-delivering every single time I met someone new. Well, every influencer is where they are now because of their ability to build community. They tell great stories and analyze their data. What does that mean? Well, good storytelling is actually rule number 6. I'll start with storytelling because that's the key to everything. You see, almost everyone loves a good movie. When you're watching Lord of the Rings or Avatar or whatever your favorite movie is, they always follow the main character overcoming some turmoil or hardship. Now, while you might be so involved in the movie, you've never been able to really tell. Ever Made follows this exact format because it's engraved in us as humans to enjoy overcoming challenges. It's something we have to do every day, and so when we see a main character overcoming a big challenge, it's impossible to look away. It's relatable and gives you that sense of community, like you're part of the story, like you could do it too. And so the biggest influencers and businesses understand the same concept. They tell a story to captivate their audience into wanting to join in. They give them a reason behind the brand. They give them a reason to want to be part of something bigger than just themselves. One of the best examples of this is Red Bull. Red Bull doesn't sell energy drinks. They sell a feeling. When you go to the Instagram page, there isn't a single picture of a Red Bull can. Why? Because a picture of a Red Bull can won't sell. That feeling behind the can will though. And so for the same concept is true to every brand. As much as you'd like to think people buy something because it makes sense, people actually buy based on emotions. And building that sense of community in your business is what keeps them wanting more. But how do we know if we're on the right track with anything we do? Rule number 7, accountability. Just like any influencer would look at their analytics to see if the video they made was good. We need systems in our life. Now, I know when most people tell you they have systems, they're referring to things they put in place in their business to track data. While I believe having that is crucial as well, systems can also refer to other aspects in your life. Remember when I told you having a good inner circle is crucial? Well, those friends can be one of your systems you put into place. Those friends can be the accountability partner that holds you together and drives you to the next level. Creating a small group chat or community with the people around you that want to succeed can go a very long way. Telling yourself you're going to do something is one thing, but having your friends tell you you have to do something is different and will hold you accountable on the days you don't want to keep going. So if you've made it to the end of this video, I congratulate you. You have the willpower and grit to keep learning through every challenge that comes your way. As always, if you got value from this video, please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one. Love ya. Peace out.